purpose of the film is like watching it for the story or the plot, so I don't know what it is exactly, but there is one movie that I watched recently where I experienced a little bit of ASMR during one particular scene, so I wanted to, and I really like this movie, like overall, even if I hadn't experienced ASMR in it, I'd recommend people to go see it. It's or to rent it at this point because it came out in 2011. I'm gonna do a low whisper or soft spoken now because it's hard to whisper for a long time when my vocal cords are warmed up. So the film is called, I don't know if you can see that, it's called Another Earth, and it came out in 2011. And I would categorize it as an indie film, but it got a lot of good reviews, and it got a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is a big deal, because usually people are pretty harsh. So the movie, and what I also like about the film is that it was written in part, there was two writers, Mike Cahill, and Britt Marling. So it was written by them, and Britt Marling was the star of it, actually. So I always like that. I always like knowing that the person who wrote it or directed it or has a part in it is starring in it. I think it's interesting. So Britt Marling plays Rhoda Williams in the film, and William Mapother, I always thought he was so cute. He's in a lot of different films, a lot of smaller ones too, but he plays John Burroughs. And they list a couple more cast members, but really it's only the two of them. And it was released on the 12th of October 2011, and they categorize it as drama or sci-fi. It's PG-13. The plot summary doesn't really do it justice, but I will read it anyways. On the night of the discovery of a duplicate planet in the solar system, an ambitious young student and an accomplished composer cross paths in a tragic accident. It summarizes it in a way, but it's not, it doesn't give you any details about the scope of the movie, and so probably that's for the best. So I watched it on the recommendation of a friend, and it was really surprising how just the power of a good idea for a film can outweigh having to have a big production value, or even though it was shot beautifully and it was really well done, it's almost like a handheld way of filming, and you can tell it probably didn't cost that much, but they still made it look really good. And it's the power of the actual, like, that one point in the plot line or the story that they're trying to tell that tells the movie. So that's always a treat. You know, I like blockbusters, I like big budget films, but I really like films that, not necessarily indies, but ones that have any film that makes me go, oh, what the fuck, and then rewatch it a couple of times, not just to get it, because you can get it, but you just want to see it over again. And there's that experience of watching a film the first time where you're unaware of what twists are going to be or what the storyline is, and then watching it a second time once you're aware of everything and kind of re-seeing it through those eyes, like, you know what's coming, but it's still a good experience. So I find I always do that too with, like, back in the day when M. Night Shyamalan made good films. I rewatched The Village a couple times. I really liked that movie, actually. I really liked it. You know, nothing beats the first time you watch it, but the second time, it's like, oh, okay, like, now, oh, this makes sense now. So, but back to Another Earth. It's a quiet film, and the way that the story unfolds is very slow but steady. And what I really liked was this actress, Britt Marling, her manner of speaking. She would be a great ASMR video maker. She's very slow and calculated, but thoughtful. She has a lot of that going on, so maybe that's what it was. But the particular scene where I found myself experiencing ASMR was when she's, not to give any spoiler alerts, but she's sitting at a table with a person, and she's telling a story about a Russian astronaut who was in space, and was going to be up there in this capsule, basically orbiting the Earth alone for, he was the first Russian, or the first astronaut to go into space and see the Earth from space. So he was orbiting the Earth, and he heard the noise in his like, I don't know, whatever he's orbiting around in. It's like a capsule or a spaceship, and he hears this ticking noise, and it's like gonna drive him crazy because he just got up there and he's gonna be up there for like 20 days. But she tells this story about how he learns to embrace the noise, as opposed to hating it and letting it annoy him and making him go crazy. So it was a really well told story, and it was just a really beautiful scene. But the way she does it is just so, I don't know, it's just quiet and like very heartfelt. It was just a good acting moment, I guess. But above that, the way she tells the story is slow and almost in a whisper, and she's got very slow, deliberate movements and the tapping, and then it was just really strange because I found myself going, like, I didn't quite have ASMR, but I was like on the verge. It was interesting, and that's when I realized too, like, oh, I don't usually get this sensation with films. So that's my rant about that. I just wanted to see what you guys thought, or if you have any films that you have experienced it with. I'd be really curious about that, because part of my like, I'm very curious about ASMR in general, because I know that it's not just, it can't possibly be just a response to stimuli, because there are times where even when I'm really stressed or I've watched too many videos in a row, like, I don't respond to it in the same way every time. I think it has a lot to do with the way you think and the way you process stuff, and even, like I mentioned before, or like the story pertains to, it's your interpretation of something. So if you're watching a video for the purpose of ASMR, I think you're more open to it, and that's why you experience it, and especially ones that have been created especially to elicit that feeling in you. So, but there are times where that doesn't apply either, so who knows? I just wish someone would actually do some studies on it, because I think it'd be really cool to see what part of your brain lights up when you experience ASMR. Like, is it the same part that, obviously there's something that makes you sleep, relaxes you, but I wonder if it's the same part of the brain that makes you feel connected to people in a non-creepy way. But like when someone shares something about themselves that's intimate, like that's what intimacy is sharing, and not even understanding, but just the fact that someone cares to share with you. So I think that's why it feels so good on top of everything, is because as human beings, we just want to know that we're connected and that we have the ability to share with people and trust them, even if it's not face-to-face or truly intimate, like between two people. I think it's a really interesting thing. So I better go. There's a garbage truck coming. And there's my ramble.